Start her up.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another GFW Trains live stream, and we already have kind of we
talk about everything, but mostly trains. Welcome. We've got trains running. We've got George leaving. We've got Grandpa here. This is all
now that we've gotten rid of George, Wally and I can be the stars of the show. Goodbye, George.
We got it.
Yeah. Now we only have one real George.
Oh my God! Welcome to GFW Trains and Fast Friday, where we talk about everything, but mostly trains. The guy that just left, that is George, otherwise known as GFW Trains. That's this guy over here.
Sorry, it's just that the daylight, right as we came on the stream, the daylight ran into the back of the Yellowstone.
Oh man!
So
it was right there on camera.
What a way to run a railroad. I come in here to visit and I expect things to run perfectly.
You got it. You got it. And this man over here who expects things to run perfectly is the other George Wardrick. Grandpa George, otherwise known as OG George. And then, of course, I am the man in the middle.
Waldo's in
production. He's the only one with a foul name, although he's named after a really great guy.
Or I'm also known as the guy that takes GFW Trains places.
Not anymore.
So, hey, welcome to Fast Friday, the beginning of the week, everybody, or the beginning of the weekend, everybody. Good to have you here. It's been a while since we've actually done a Fast Friday here at the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Good to have you back, Grandpa.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Always good to be back on the show. Hi, everybody out there.
So yeah, it's been a little bit since we've done a live stream together.
Right. So for everybody just rolling through the door, welcome to GFW Trains. Welcome to
Fast Friday. It's a real Fast Friday.
Right. For those of you that don't know, we used to race trains a lot on our layout, and that was before we had all of the tracks and everything here like this. We loved the train race, right, George? It got pretty rough because we put the second level on. And that's what I just like to say is the reason why we stopped train races is for the second level. Actually, the real reason why we stopped train races is because I would beat George all of the time. He would cry. I would have to take him to the therapist, counseling. And the counseling bills just got too much for me. The crying was too much. So we had to stop Fast Friday.
What?
Stop racing trains.
Bruh, that's
Actually,
not what it was.
The truth of the matter was neither of them could keep their trains on the track.
No,
they were ruining their trains.
Anyways,
somebody's got to keep them honest.
So here's the deal. We called it Fast Friday because we'd race trains on Friday, but there is a tradition beyond trains. It's in racing. It's the racing tradition. It's Fast Friday. And Grandpa, why don't you tell a little bit about what Fast Friday is?
Well, Fast Friday is in IndyCar qualifying
down at the Indianapolis
down at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the fastest car on Fast Friday is the pole sitter for the Indy 500, or they're doing it a little.
There we go. And we're back. So I think and we're back. Thanks for hanging with us. Yeah, I know we froze. Yeah. All right, so we're back. Fast Friday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Grandpa?
Okay. If you didn't get it before, Fast Friday down at the Indianapolis 500 racetrack in Indianapolis. The weekend before the 500 used to be qualifying weekend, and on Friday would be was the first day of qualification, and the
Let's try that. All right, we're going to try this. We're going back and forth, having some internet issues. It's like 1999 here in the Worderick house. All right, so as you were saying, Grandpa.
So again, for the third time, the Fast Friday is the first day of qualification for the Indianapolis 500 race on Memorial Day weekend. And when the qualifying started on Friday, the car that ran the fastest on Friday, the first day of qualification, would be the pole sitter for the race. So that's how it worked when they used to have the qualifications over 2 weekends. And a little different now than what they do. But the original thing was Fast Friday was for the fastest cars, got the front pole places. So there you go.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. 1999 down here at GFW Trains Worldwide Studios. Thanks everybody for bearing with us. I think hopefully we got some of our internet issues all ironed out. If you're just rolling through the door, welcome to Fast Friday, the Fast Friday. Grandpa was just talking about that. If you're new around here to GFW Trains, welcome to GFW Trains.
Talk about everything, but mostly trains.
Yeah. If you're rolling through the door, do us a solid over here at the GFW Trains Worldwide Studio. Smash that like button. If you're new around here, like what we do, please consider being a subscriber. It'll help feed this young man. I don't know. Actually, it won't help feed him. It'll just grow the ego. I'm not even really sure what it will do. But, hey, we like it. We'll talk with you. You can talk with us. You can be part of the community. And we love this community, right?
Right.
Speaking of loving this community, one of the things that we always do here at GFW Trains is we say hi to everybody that's through the door. We've seen some new names through the door. And we've seen some old names through the door. It's been a long time since we've had anything going on here at the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios. And it's good to have 3 generations here at the Worldwide Studios.
Amen.
2 Georges and a Wally right here. So one of the things that we do is we always welcome people through the door, and we give them a whistle as they're coming in. So what I want to do is I'm going to back right up and say hello to everybody who's coming through. So first person through the door today is Train Finder Craig. Good to have you here, Craig. Thanks for coming. Of course, we got the Train Freak in the house. Good stuff. Got 2 different whistles there. Nice. GFW. Nice. We got our man Conrail Nuts. Conrail's always saying that there's something going on. This week he's got his MTH Santa Fe with a fried board.
Oh, no.
Our friend, your friend, everybody's friend, Ours Trains. There we go. Ours Trains. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Let's see here.
Oh, I keep forgetting to send that car to him.
Which one's
the
that?
DNH one?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So sorry about that choppy stream. We'll hold back. Hopefully, more than ever. We've got Anthony Sparico in the house. Thanks for coming. I like your PFB there with your retirement plan. My retirement plan is 2 things. 1, George, show me a left hand. His left arm, pitching arm. If that doesn't come through for me, I've got a backup plan for that. I've been buying lottery tickets for years. So that's my retirement. If neither one of those come through, I'm going to be working until I'm 99 years old, George.
99. Like the Lego age restrictions.
Right. So I got a lot riding on you, George. So come through for you, old man. All right? What do you say?
Yeah, I'll try.
Train Freak says you should be reprimanded for running into the back of the train back over here when we started.
I mean, I don't know. Sorry, we're trying to get trains around here. Just the switches weren't something I was thinking about first, but yeah.
Excuses.
Well, it's good to see everybody back. We got EJ and E. The J coming. Thanks for coming. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Everybody coming through here. K&R Custom 3 generations. It's always good to have 3 generations talking trains. We'll probably have some type of wrestling match a little bit later to try and determine who knows the most about trains.
Oh, boy.
Allegheny and Chinago Railroad. I'm sure I got that wrong, but yes, do us that. Our man, Apples and Oranges.
Hey, Apples and Oranges. I was out your way here a little more than a week ago. Thought about you as I was walking around that area by Richland.
Right. All right. So we got Radar Diddy here in the house. You got it. Feed the train habit. That's it. That's what it does. The subscriptions. Feed the train. Chris Lambert, Lambo's in the house, coming all the way from California. Train freak. Grandpa.
What would you like to hear?
Grandpa's
Oh,
Up and down the Mona.
there you go.
Live,
Hoosier line. See, this is for Indiana. It's Indy 500 qualifier. What's the second verse, Grandpa? Mona, Mona.
Nobody knows the second verse.
Same song, second verse.
A little bit louder, a little bit worse. There we go. Conrail nuts we got here. Okay, got a new board. We got Burnsy. Good to see you, Burnsy. Hope school's coming together and
Coming to an end.
Coming to an end for you. Baseball's rolling well. EJ and the Jays coming from Joliet, right down the road. Very nice. And Pugsy says, hello, I'm back. Good to see you here, Pugsy. Glad that you came back. If you're just coming in through here, guys, smash that like button. Roger Rail fans coming through the door saying, sorry I'm late, but hey, glad you're here. We're just going through saying hello to everybody. If you're just rolling through the door and you're playing the Georgia drinking game right there, drink up. One for the yawn.
Did he yawn already?
Yawned already.
We haven't been on 15 minutes and we have a yawn.
Nice.
George.
So, George, Roger Rail fans bringing up here says nice Strasburg show.
Yeah.
So we went over to York in the spring, in April. We went to the Train Collectors Association, the Eastern Division spring meet that they have in York, Pennsylvania. We had a chance to go out there a couple of days earlier.
Oh, I thought we were out there on college visits.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
College.
This is going to be out there for
College.
can't take that back. We were visiting colleges. George,
there we go.
What was it? Franklin and Marshall. Franklin and Marshall. There's another one. Drink up, guys.
George only defensive school.
Yes. Well, hey, the cross country coach is writing him and telling him to come out there and run cross country for
for $100,000 a year.
Man, hey man, I'll run there as long as I'm not running in college debts for the rest of my life.
Right. So we got a chance to go out to Strasburg. And Train Freak brings this up, and we'll get back around to this. Says not train related, but has George earned his Eagle yet? Hasn't earned it, but he's well on his way. In fact, we'll get to this. We did the coolest thing a couple weeks back. George had, tell them what you did, George.
I hosted a train show.
You've always wanted to do that your whole life. You've always wanted to have a train show, right?
Yeah.
And we did it. George did it.
We did it. That's right.
He had the train show. It was out at the Yorkville American Legion. 800, believe it or not, 800 people came, and over 50 people volunteered setting up the show and worked the show out there.
We had like 6 or 7 layouts there too. I mean,
right?
It was a lot. It was weird, right? So originally the plan was to have 3 layouts, and then it just kind of increased and increased and increased. And it was cool because then the day of the show, I found out there were layouts that were coming that people were just like, hey,
right?
Could I set up my trains? And we're like, yeah, sure.
On in. Pugsy was there.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, Pugsy.
Hey, if you guys that are on we're here, type in with what you.
Pugsy, what'd you like? What'd you like about the show? That was really fun. I thought it was neat. George, what do you?
It was really cool. I don't know. It's hard to take it all in though.
I agree with
that. It's hard to take it all in as like a spectator because I was always running around trying to get people or just get everything situated so everybody would have the best or the best experience they could. But it was really fun.
We made a video. If you haven't seen the video of it yet, you're gonna have to go and check out that video because the video is pretty darn neat. It kind of goes through everything. But it was quite the show. I'm telling you. I'm trying to. I've got some pictures here. I'm trying to find some good pictures. Here's one of us jokers here. I'm gonna pull this up on the
moments before disaster.
This was the night before.
There's a funny story going along with that one too.
Yeah. As I recall, somebody leaned on the sign and the walls came a tumbling down. Who was that man that leaned on the signs?
But yeah. So I mean, it was really really cool. And the picture I'm about to show you is of the sign outside of the Legion where we hosted the show. Uh, but
Let me see what we got here. No, it's not coming up. That's not coming up. Keep talking.
it's
here.
all right. But
Conrail
Um,
Nuts says my birthday isn't next week, but the week after. Wally and George and OG George. He
Well,
wanted
happy
us to read
birthday.
his.
well, happy birthday,
So happy birthday,
early birthday. But
whatever.
yeah. So it was really cool.
Unbirthday.
We had some cool layouts. We had a lot of cool, or we had a really cool garage sale, and that was really cool. I think people who were there
Sold several
enjoyed it.
garages.
Yeah, people or the Prairie State Railroad Club had a very neat garage sale, which they graciously put together, and then they donated all the funding from that to my project. So the Prairie State Railroad Club also had some other stuff there, but the donations that we received from the public and everybody that came was really really cool, and everybody was super generous. It was really, I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, we had a lot of people come in from big wigs in the Boy Scout world to, uh, um, like the mayor came, some other guys who are big into politics as well, who are running for one of them who's running for Congress, and the other one who is uh, doing something with the school board for our area. So it's pretty cool. I saw some of my teachers came, my baseball coaches came, and just friends and family from all around the United States. That was really cool. And yeah, it was a really really fun time. And I just cannot convey how excited I was.
Well, it was neat because it was like a cross section of people from the community out there. It wasn't just like the your normal train people, was it?
Yeah, no, it was everybody. I mean, people who were bringing their kids out for a good Sunday after church, you know, day.
I'll tell you what. Anybody that says model railroading is a hobby is dead. Wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yorkville is not the biggest town in the world, and they had a crowd there all day long. So it was one fascinating thing, and everybody had a good time. It wasn't just people buying and selling trains; it was people watching trains run and having a good time with it. The layouts really, really, really were nice, and got to give a big thank you, a shout out to those three. The clubs, the Midwest Division of the TCA,
Right.
and then there was the Valley Model Railroaders, right?
Right.
And then Denny's Trains and Things
Yep.
down in Oswego.
And we also had
And then we got
then we had Skip and his grandkids who came.
and
We also had Trevor from the Prairie State Railroad Club.
Charlie.
Charlie came. Charlie and his friend came. Then we also.
I'm not sure what this is.
Is this what we're showing now?
Oh. That one.
That's not what we need. But yeah, so basically, it was really cool. We had a lot of fun with that. I mean, there's a lot of cool people that came. I mean, it's great. It's great. But yeah, the video that is on G3 Trains is really cool as well. It is very very nicely edited and put together by the finest, our finest editing team. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
So we're downloading that one right now.
There we
I
go.
mean, that one's already on
YouTube.
YouTube if you haven't seen it. Yeah, for whatever reason, my browser isn't letting me put up any pictures of it. So we'll get this up there, and you can kind of see the flavor of it. So, well, Train Freak, sorry about your phone, and have a great. Everything rolls for you. Glad for stopping by. If you haven't already, smash that like button on the way out. So, hey, Mommy Lulu's here. How you doing?
How's it going?
Good show. So tell us some more about the show, George.
Well, it's pretty cool. We had a lot of. It was really fun. I mean, it was cool. We had some pretty cool layouts there. Two of them were some top-notch amazing layouts. Actually,
Got her
all
up.
Here we go. Turn the volume off here on this. George, you can tell a little bit about what's going on.
So right here is at the end of the show, and I wanted to dispatch out the Valley Mile Railroad Club, who operates their layout off a real CTC system, which is what the real railroads control their trains off of with their signaling and stuff like that. So as you can see, the people are able to run the trains from the remotes that they have there.
So backing up a little bit, this one is there's George, right? And
Yeah.
what do we got going on here?
So they basically what they do is they allow you to run their trains, and they give you in the yard they give you an engine, and you from there take it around the layout. There was a series of signals, and in those signals you have to stop, or basically obey the signals, and if you don't, well, bad things will happen.
Right.
So it's pretty cool, and it's really it's very hands-on for a lot of younger people. We got Noah right there, who he didn't seem to like the signals, but that one he was seemed to cope with. And then we got Denny's Trains and Things over here, who's got a really nice layout. It was really cool. They had trains running everywhere. For that one, as you can see, we got Trevor right here with his pretty cool N scale layout, which he brought. Then we got so here's some more videos of the Valley Mile Railroad Club. This is the show was dying down, so there weren't as many people there as there was.
I didn't take very good video. I was busy most of the time when we had all of the people there, and only the times when there weren't very many people there was when I was taking videos. But this place was packed the whole time.
So then you got the garage sale hosted by the Prairie State Railroad Club, and you can see that there is a lot of action going on there. People are trying to buy trains, and the Prairie State Railroad Club made a lot of money off of the garage sale, which they graciously donated to my project.
There's a deal going on.
We got some deals going on, some D's.
2 trains, 1 money.
There you go. But yes, then we got Denny's. Some more videos of Denny's layout. Pretty sweet. They had a lot of like cool trains, like just trains that you wouldn't think of. I mean, they had like a 210-2 or something like that, like a post-war 210-2, which they like kit bash, which is really cool. I'm not sure if it's in this video at all, if you can see it. But yeah, here's the Valley Mile Railroad Club. They got some pretty neat Amtrak train. They always have their staple, in my opinion, is always that Amtrak train.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here we got the Midwest Division of TCA. They always have some pretty neat trains. They got Jim. I'm pretty sure that's Jim's Hiawatha set. And here we got Megan, Anita, and JDN running concessions. Here we got
a nice concession stand there too. We had selling all kinds of stuff at the concession.
All kinds of stuff. The Prairie State Railroad Club was.
You better thank the young ladies that were doing the selling.
Yeah, thank you guys. But then here we got Charlie, and they set up a really cool floor layout. So they insisted that was on the floor. So they got some pretty neat stuff going on. They got the figure eight in the middle where it looked like it was about to hit the back of the train. Then you got the 2 hour loops with the G gauge loops surrounding those scale stuff. Then you got the standard gauge on Denny's layout with
they have 9 trains or 10 trains running at the same time?
Probably more than that. I mean, we got one.
That was quite the setup, and they put that thing together by hand with all of the different all of the different track sections and everything there.
Yeah, it took them a while, didn't it?
It sure did.
Then,
Bob, you're right. That is some standard gauge there.
Yeah. So then you got some more videos of Valley Mile Railroad Club with me dispatching. It was hard, dude. It was hard. I cannot. There's a video of or a picture of the layout. And basically how it's run, you can see the green sections are where trains are able to go. So basically those tracks are cleared all the way through the layout. So if you're on the green section, you basically right now have a clean or right away all the way through the layout. And then here we go. We got some Jim Petches, who is a guy who runs he's in charge of the modular layout. He's over there running trains. And you got Trevor running some trains.
So this was a layout he brought, a little point to point, right?
Yeah.
European.
It's Thomas. I'm pretty sure. It's inspired by Thomas.
You can see a couple of new train lovers right there with some trains that they got from the garage sale.
Yeah. So here you go. You can see it's pretty sweet layout actually. It's very creative. You got Noah right there. God, I love that. Oh, there's Liam, Noah, and the twins.
So you're gonna have to tell a little bit about this layout. This one's kind of a cool one.
This one, Liam, the tallest of the 4 or 5. He and his grandpa. Well, I guess I should include Noah too, or else Noah would get mad at me. But Noah, Liam, and his grandpa and Owen set up this train layout the night before, and they were having a blast. Liam's train is the Hiawatha on the outside. He's
putting some smoke in it right now.
Some smoke fluid. And here we go. We got Denny's train or Denny's.
Go ahead, you can go back.
But yeah, and so then you got the Owen and Liam's trains on the inside with the Mickey Mouse stuff, and then the Frozen train, I'm assuming, was the twins. Yeah, they always have their overalls and engineer's hat, which is pretty sweet. So yeah. Then we got Denny's trains and thing, and I didn't know he had some of the Carol Shear buildings out. That's cool. I didn't even know. I didn't even know he used to go to the banquets.
Oh yeah. And of course, Jim Myris goes all the time.
Oh, I bet you those are his. Yeah, that makes sense.
They had some really neat standard gauge pieces that they were running on this. They had a lot of neat trains on that layout. That's for sure.
They had a duplex running too. It's about to come around in the video if it stays on for long enough. Yeah, there it is. Boom. It's weird that thing isn't articulated. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
So weird. There's some more shots of Liam, Owen, and Noah's layout. Oh, and here we got the upper level of Denny's layout, which is pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. And here we got the GFW train train. Yeah, that train, of course, is always the best train on any layout. Oh, some more of Liam, Owen, and Noah's layout. They sure love that Hiawatha. I know Liam does, but yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, the things that were going on. We had the Prairie State Railroad Club there, of course. Your buddies came out.
Oh yeah, they all. But they all came out. Some of my friends from baseball and school. They were all there. They helped, volunteered. Then we got there's just
that's a good picture of how packed it was. Most of the time.
Yeah, oh man! So the first guy, we should tell you about Sonny. Sonny, the first guy that showed up.
Yep.
Showed up about 15 minutes. Oh, there's my baseball coach's son. There you go. You can see my baseball coach. Then we got Maverick, who is he's an avid GFW trains lover.
As is the whole family, as you can see.
Yes. He was excited to see the train. That's for sure. He was excited to see the train.
There we
go.
My
mom's family.
There's
my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, my cousin. There's a picture of the hall when it's at its peak. There we go. We got some nice pictures. There's Tim. Doesn't know what's going on. There's Mom around the concessions. Pretty sweet. And we got some just more pictures of the hall. Here's some other pictures where we can see our 7.5 gauge train, which we had displayed there. There's a garage sale. There's Tim and Mr. Jim, who were helping run the train collectors.
So to get back, this was a fundraiser for your Eagle Scout project.
Yes.
So you were trying to raise money for that Eagle Scout project. My favorite is Mom's face.
Yeah.
There's the concession stand.
There you go.
Of course, we had a lot of help from the Scouts.
There's the concession stand again. There's Valley Mile Railroad Club. And Mr. Mayor Purcell. Yeah, past mayor and the current mayor. It's pretty cool. There's Matthew and Caleb helping out. There's Liam and his dad or his grandfather Skip. And there's Maverick, Katrina, Bill, and Adam. And then we got me and Mr. Mahashko. And then there's
a buddy of mine from when I was growing up came out all the way from Wisconsin to see George's.
That was cool. And he gave me a bunch of newspapers from when you got your Eagle, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, Bill, who's always been big help with everything.
Yes.
And then here we are at the end. That's my favorite one right there.
Yes. There's the end.
Man,
The end. So yeah, it was a good time.
It was fun.
It was definitely
Very fun.
cool. Yes, we did. Yes, George did.
Yes. Yes, I
Well,
did.
hopefully we'll do it again. We had a lot of people ask us about wanting to do that show
Next
annually,
year,
right?
Yeah, we'll have to figure out another excuse to do it, or maybe we'll have to do it at a different time of year. I don't know what we'll have to do, but it was a huge task, that's for sure. But I mean, it was something that was very doable.
And it
to
was
do.
rewarding. It was, as from a hobby standpoint, it was really rewarding because there were so many people there. There were hobbyists. There were people that were proud showing off their trains. There were young kids. There were kids that were just from the community that showed up. It was free. So people just showed up right across the community. People
Right.
were coming home from church. George had his social circles from school that came in, and even beyond that, the people from your high school came in who didn't even know you.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was neat too because my engineering teacher was posting up flyers around the school before the show. I mean, it was cool. Yeah. So it was a very good turnout. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Cool. So you know what? I glossed right over this, George, and I want to loop back around. So we're here in the GFW Train studio again. We had Worldwide Studio. We haven't been here in quite some time. We're just hanging out, running trains, enjoying a Friday night. If you're just joining us, this is.
I'm George, otherwise known as GFW Trains.
And this is.
I'm also George, better known as OG George.
And
What I've been asked, what does OG stand for?
Original Gangster.
Original Gangster.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh,
no!
so enlighten us, Grandpa.
Oh no!
OG stands for
Overly good.
overly good.
Gangster.
The original George. The original George. Our own guy George. But it's the original edition.
Without me, there's none of this.
Original George. So these are the two Georges, and I'm Wally squished in the middle. We're here on Fast Friday. On the Fast Friday. And what do we do on GFW Trains?
Talk about everything, but mostly trains.
You got it.
Hey, anybody got any topics they want to bring up so that we can discuss?
Oh!
He does.
NRE! They sold their syphilis. No, that's
they got the syphilis. They got syphilis.
No,
What?
how do you say that? Civis? Silvis. So you know that,
Right.
yeah, they have their
This is
facility
huge,
out there,
right?
and they sold it. So you know the company that operates 261, they sold it to them,
Right.
and
who owned it? Who owned Silvis?
Rock Island Railroad. Used
Well,
to be.
before that,
no.
right? Or
and
after
the
that?
NRE, the National something or other. But they were a scrapping company. They scrapped basically diesels.
You can
Okay.
Pause for
Anyways,
station identification.
we'll be back. Hold on. Don't leave us. Don't leave us, please.
Hi there, kiddies. This is.
but anyways, so basically they
That's not.
ooh, now you get pretty good close up. But anyways, so the NRE sold their facility in Silvis, and they sold it to the people who operate 261. And so basically, what's cool about that is right after, I'm not sure right after this or right before, or when this happened, when these series of events happened, but the Union Pacific donated $39.85 and a $210.2 that they had to this program. And so they're going to be operating or restoring and operating these two steam engines in Illinois, which is going to be pretty cool.
Headquartered right down the track.
Bam! That's going to be
Well,
awesome. $39.85. George, tell me why you like $39.85 so much. George loves $39.85. I think it's grown on him a lot, like over the years, especially since 4014 came online.
So I like 3985 a lot just because I feel like it's the overlooked steam engine. You know what I mean? At a point, it was the largest operating steam engine in the world, and it seemed like I think the people who cared, but nobody really knowed about it. You know what I mean? Like if you ask people what the big boy is, oh yeah, that went through town 3 years ago. You know?
Right.
I went to see it, but the 3985, for example, right? I'm not. This isn't meant to bash you at all, right? But when 3985 came to West Chicago, did you go to see it?
I did.
When we went, when 4014 came to our area, did we go to see it?
Oh yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And I mean, like I feel like people aren't it's not appreciated as much as it should be, right? And when the Union Pacific started restoring 4014, they kind of pushed 3985 aside. They retired it. They wanted nothing to do with it, right? And they did so with the rest of their steam program. Well, except for 844, which they can't really do anything with 844, or else that'd be just like
sacrilege.
Yeah, like you get out of jail free card. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I just like 3985 because it doesn't get as much attention
Have
as
you
it
seen
should.
some of the other news? The Reading T1's running.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know much about that.
This is like the kind of a renaissance here
of just in the last 3 months.
Right.
Reading T1 on the Reading and Northern or
Reading,
something that they call it. And,
Yeah.
there's
2102.
There's some pictures of it pulling a real long train. Then you have the Western Maryland or CNO
1309.
little mallet that's 1025 or something like that.
1309.
And it's running. And so you got 2 new steamers out there in the eastern United States.
And I like how you call it the little mallet, because it is a little mallet. But it's the second
huge.
largest steam locomotive operating right now.
Second largest articulated.
Second.
Right.
It's the second. It's the
Is
one
844 bigger? What's bigger than
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought that I read somewhere that
If you put our big boy or our 844 next to our mallet, the 844,
844.
our daylight,
Oh.
our daylight next to the mallet. It's
I still have to I think I gotta put a big sign on the 844. Property of, not this George Order.
So, hey, I not to derail things a little bit, see what I did there. But if you're just rolling through the door, welcome. This is GFW Trains, Fast Friday. Smash that like button if you can. I know that there are a couple of people just coming through. We got Great Railroads Production coming through the door. Good to have you here. We got Mama Yaya coming. Good to have you here. Smash that like button if you would. And we're talking about old steamers. 3985 coming online. I didn't know this, but this makes sense. Conrail Nuts is saying that they're going to be restoring the 4014 tender.
They're gonna have to.
Because you got to have 2 tenders, right?
Yeah.
Because right now.
No. Well, yeah, they gotta get because if that or
So explain that.
basically 4014 is using 85's tender just because it's already they're the same style of tenders. They're all centipede tenders, and they were able to use that with the big boy. To be able to operate the big boy sooner, they were able to just use 3985's tender as it was.
Because at that point, Union Pacific had found a new toy.
Yeah. Well, no, because they were able to use it. It would shorten restoration time.
No, that
They
makes
wouldn't have to worry
sense.
about a tender.
Give UP a little bit of credit. The reason they shut down 3985 is it failed one of its checks.
Nah, just Ed Dickens didn't like it. That's why.
No.
No, Ed Dickens didn't like it. If you ever hear it, dude, if you look anywhere, they say he didn't like the
didn't like it compared to what? Oh, I suppose 44 or 844.
844. I don't know.
It failed one of its
Well,
boilers.
screw those tests. They got enough money to restore it. They got money coming out of their ears. I mean, enough to restore 4014, right?
Well, from what I understand, and I'm sure there are people out there that know a lot better than me, that beyond just ponying up the money for 4014, that there are a lot of enthusiasts within the company that really wanted to do that, and there was a lot of time that was donated. There was a lot of time. It wasn't just UP saying, "Okay, we got a boatload of cash, fix our engine up." There was a lot of love from within the company put forth to restore it.
But what about 3985? That's what the full funnels back to what I said earlier. It's huge, man. That is like the 3985 was just like the big boy before big boys were a thing.
Right.
You know, that was the biggest and baddest engine at the
Right.
time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was
right.
like, you know, and then the big boys came around.
So one of the questions that Real Fan Kimball, or one of the things says that I thought 4014 ran on recycled engine oil, or is that 844?
They both.
So
They
yeah,
both did.
from what I understand, all of the Union Pacific,
They're all their steam engines run
Right.
off of oil. They're all oil burners.
so 4014 was switched to be an oil burner.
And yes, and a lot of 3985 was, and then for 844. Very common with a lot of restored steam engines nowadays, just because it's kind of harder to. When you're running around the country, it's harder to get coal. You know what I mean? If you think about it, right? It's harder to like. You're not going to stop for coal at a you know.
Right.
They just don't have any places around the country where they have coal
It's
ramps set up.
Yeah, it's different
Right.
at Strasbourg where it's a point-to-point railroad, and once you get back with every run, you can just fill it back up, right?
Right.
Where if you're running around the United States, you're gonna need something that's readily available, and what is that? It's oil. It's not readily available, but it's a lot easier to get than coal.
Right.
You have to take the coal with you, and so they're able to put that in water tenders. They have oil tenders. I mean, it's a lot easier to operate a steam engine for longer distances on that in this day and age. But yeah, so they that is yeah, so,
Truism.
yeah.
Right. So Pugsy's got a question. I like this question. Because if you had to choose any train from any era to never die out, what engine are you choosing? What engine, are you choosing? I'll go first and say a Santa Fe 35.
Hudson's, New York Central Hudson's.
Ooh, that's a good one.
J3As. Or no, which one's the 700E? That's a J1. J1E, right?
I thought it was, yeah.
I don't know, it's J3.
I thought,
They all look the same to some.
All very, very similar.
The only things that define them are their tenders, right?
right.
And the streamlining.
How about you, Grandpa? Any train? It's a tough one.
Yeah,
It's a really tough one. Because I can think of a lot.
I think
Like-
a lot of it. I hate to single one out as opposed to another one.
Right.
I'm thrilled to death they're going to get 3985
Yeah.
on it. Big
Yeah.
Boy running, of course, is classic. The G4, G3, 2-1 or whatever it is classic.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
talking. He's
that's
talking
right.
about like die out, like go extinct. Engines that do not exist anymore.
But,
Oh, I don't know if
getting
that's.
back
I think
running.
he was just
That's not
saying
what he's
any
asking.
engine that would keep going, it would never die.
Oh.
Not necessarily one that's not around.
The,
I agree,
the-
100% with the
the
Hudson.
Hudsons or that one. I don't know what it was. The
EM1,
Burlington. Oh yeah, the EM1. But that Burlington.
the old 5 or
I don't know what it was. The one they painted gold.
yeah. I'm
That
trying to think.
that is a bad engine. You cannot tell me that thing just looks like mean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I am thinking.
Made brass cool before brass was cool.
Evelyn Oranges agrees with you. The Hudson on
Hudson.
that one. But there's some
Oh, wait a
cool
minute,
concepts.
yeah.
I would have loved to see the M10,000 or the Zephyr, like the shovel
Pioneer
hose.
Zephyr, we have, of course, down at the museum site.
Right. I would have loved to see that thing
running.
run. And the cool part is that one ran right through Yorkville here. I mean, in its heyday.
Yep.
Um,
Sure did.
Let's see.
That's
I'm
weird
trying
to think that like things like I don't know. They always seem like they happen so far away. You know what I
Right.
mean?
or a big one like Yellowstone. Wouldn't that be cool? There's Yellowstone up in Duluth that I understand that's got almost a pristine boiler that wouldn't take too much to get that up and running again.
Yeah, and I think the problem with that though is like Yellowstones, right? They're probably not very good excursion engines.
No.
Probably
They're
terrible excursion engines.
Yeah, they run slow. They're amazing trains. Don't
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
wrong. They're
But
just
they run
not
slow.
They're
They
not-
need a lot of
they're not
space.
passenger trains, It's like
Yeah, that's like trying to get like a Honda Civic to race an Indy car.
well, it's very interesting to that point. We were just out at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, right? I'm wearing my 4501 hat. We were out there. We had the opportunity to ride behind 4501, which was awesome. And
wait, no, I wasn't. No, I'm not.
and we got done riding 4501 and we were taking pictures of it. And Grandpa got talking with the engineer. What was the engineer saying, Grandpa?
Says it's 4501. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But he says that he doesn't like running the 4501, or a lot of people there don't like running the 4501. We asked him why, and he said that it's like keeping a horse in a cage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's
really
not big enough railroad.
Right. It's not long enough. It wants to step out fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, you got a spur that it runs. It's like a 6-mile spur. It's like these guys were saying, it's keeping a racehorse in a cage. So they said that they much prefer on this little short line run to run the 630 that they have there at the.
It's a lot smaller engine, and the 4501's a big engine, but like compared to the Yellowstone, like peas the
Yeah, but well, now of course you take a look at one of your non-articulated engines, 65 or the 3751. What's interesting is the pictures of those big engines, that big Santa Fe 484 and the UP 844. Those are gigantic engines for not being articulated.
Right.
I didn't realize how big they are in comparison.
Yes, but like we're just talking about like how the Yellowstone, like no. If they're saying the 4501's hard to operate, I mean the lamps.
No, he didn't say it's hard to operate.
It's not. It's too big to operate on a railroad like that. Where are you going to find space to run the Yellowstone?
Well, that's what they remember when they were talking about that when we were driving 765. That
they need space for the 765 because I mean the Fort Wayne Historical Society, they had their spur, and other than that they couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Well, they're very Fort Wayne Historical Society's got they do that thing. I guess they run it almost every weekend at Cuyahoga.
Yeah, they've been out there a lot.
Railroad,
And the thing that I think is funny is they don't even steam it out there.
Yeah. They can tow it out there.
Right. Well, remember we were talking to the engineers and the guys that drive 765, and they said that was one of the coolest trips that they ever had, is when they brought it out here to Chicago.
Yeah, that was fun. We were doing 79 miles an hour coming from Joliet into downtown Chicago.
Right on
the rocket.
The Metro track right there, the nice smooth rail, and those guys loved that because it was the first time that they could. They said they could let 765 stretch your legs, So here's a couple of other really good entries into the trains. One of them is the John Henry. Now I agree with that. That would be cool. I would have liked to have seen. John Henry is a good example, but any of those turbines, while not necessarily a success in the grander scheme of railroading or anything like that, but I would have really liked to have seen a turbine run.
Yeah, well, there's such a trouble is there's such an oddball to even fix.
Right.
They're not. One of the big things about an engine getting these old engines going is how many of them are there around where you can maybe scavenge apart if you need it.
Right.
That's so important because there's a lot of them that'll never run again no matter what. And you might as well, if you need something, and they got a good one on that, and then you need one badly because there's no making of it, and there's no let's call it the used train parts shop.
Right. And you got to fabricate it yourself.
You got to either find it somewhere on one of these engines that was saved and that's never going to run again, or neither of them will run again.
Right.
I mean, you think it's hard getting parts for that stuff? Try getting 7.5 gauge steam engines, right? You think there's a lot of them, right? But they're all so unique. They're all made by somebody different.
Something breaks, you got to make your parts yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, where at least on some of these restored engines, they do have engines they're able to scavenge their stuff.
So hey, if you're coming through the door, welcome to GFW Trains Livestream, where we
talk about everything but mostly trains.
It's Fast Friday today, the real Fast Friday, where they're doing tomorrow's going to be qualification day out there at the Indianapolis 500. We stole the name Fast Friday from them.
No, they stole it from us. What are you talking
That's
about?
what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So welcome if you're just coming through the door. NEC Life, Thunder Ridge Railroad. Give them a little whistle there, Jared. We always give people a whistle when they come through the door.
welcome to GFW Trades. We like to steal names from everybody.
Hey, just while we're on the subject of these restoring these trains, and this is a good thought for all of us that love these restored trains, engines. It takes money to do it, and when these guys make a pitch out for, hey, we need money to work on them, it's going to cost probably $1 million or more to get 3985 running. That's no small piece of change. And all of us people that really want to see this engine run, a few bucks in the right places instead of, in the wrong places to maybe help these guys get this thing going. I'm not saying they don't have a big railroad behind them, and that's to pay for it.
Right.
So all those ones that don't have some big corporation running them,
It's a lot harder.
but it's a lot harder to get it. And that money, I hate to say it, but money is what's going to make them run.
Right,
And,
right. So, and you're right. This is just a private corporation that's going to be restoring all of this stuff. They got that yard. The good news, though, is, at least they've got experience doing it. This isn't some fly-by-night group that's...
Well, it was the Silvis engine facility there where the Rock Island was, when it was built, was a state-of-the-art engine facility. And there were
There's
Rock
turntable
Island,
there.
all their work there. And, they the people that are doing it probably going to end up being contracted by a lot of the steam people
I would imagine.
to run, because the facility is such a good facility.
Right.
We were amazed even at that facility, that 765, they have a big old overhead crane and everything to lift the big steam engine up on it. And it's more than just a little undertaking where, we're going to get it in and polish her up and kick her out the door. They got to take them all apart. And so, the enthusiasm that we in the train fan group can show these people by contributing a little bit every now and then is going to be a big thing for all of us to see it run. And that's and actually too, if you live near any of these things, I'm sure, I know I read the thing on Silvis there. They said we're not set up to do it, but we're going to need volunteers in this thing somewhere. So if you live in Illinois, anywhere, Silvis isn't that hard to get to. Hey, maybe
It's kind of a long drive, but
maybe
it's
let's
easy.
try and run a weekend train out there.
Yeah. But it's a neat spot. We were out there a couple of years ago when they were still doing scrapping. I was just looking on my computer to see if I could post up some pictures of that. I'm having some issues doing picture posting. But, yeah, that was fun when we went there. We saw a lot of rare trains. They're all gone. I can't believe they're all gone.
It was nuts,
You look
yeah.
at a lot of these old diesel lines, too, that are around with all these poor old diesels now that are probably awaiting the scrapper's torch.
That's the other thing, too. Every single engine there has been scrapped.
Wow.
At Silvis.
Wow.
It's nuts.
They didn't save any of them, huh?
Except for like the Chessie GP38 or whatever it
Okay.
was. But yeah, like the Metro E units, those F units that were all there, all the SD40s, Dash 8s, SD60s.
It's actually kind of sad because it was at least something where it was like all these trains were put out to pasture and it was.
What do
Yeah,
you think about that? I'm an airplane guy, and out there in those
it's deserts.
the
Yeah.
deserts out there in Arizona.
I've always wanted to visit one of those.
Well, you can go out to Pima there, and you can look at them. I'd like to go visit some of them because I've flown a lot of them, but they're sitting out there and they're like old buddies. I have one of my own personal airplanes. I have is the oldest of its kind in the world. It was a 1960 model, produced in 1959, serial number 17 out of a airplane type that they made about 4,000 or 5,000 of them. But I have the oldest one still flying, and it's kind of been my labor of love to keep it flying because it is the oldest one. It's had its mishaps in the last 5 years, and I was probably stupid, but I keep putting it back together again. It still runs good. And it's not like seeing a big boy come crunching in the door or something like that, but it is a part of aviation history, and that's as much important to me as railroad industry, and which is the more romantic of the two, but they're all going to be the same. And that's something everybody should think about.
All right, I'm going back to the
Welcome.
the things. No, the trains. I like this one. Um, Randall Ellison says he saw the Frisco 1522 in 1994 at Thayer, Missouri. She was at the height of her popularity back then, and the biggest and baddest of the 482 mountains ever built were the Frisco units. So I'm not familiar with 1522.
Yeah, you are. It's at in St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
It's right next to the GS6.
Oh.
It's like across the way.
Yes,
You've
sir.
seen it.
Yeah.
If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. It was a steam or excursion star back in the day, and money and all of that happened. So
Apples and Oranges says, long live OG's Piper. Welcome to the stream, Daryl or David. David Stevens got your whistle there. If you're just rolling through the door, smash that like button. If you're new around here, like what we do, please don't hesitate to subscribe because there's a lot more of this. Lot more of this where it came
Where
from.
else
Right?
can you get the Three Stooges live in color? I go.
George, how much Three Stooges have you watched in your life? I think this is one of my biggest parenting errors. Is George isn't really that familiar with the Three Stooges.
I did like a math problem with the Three Stooges one time, but like that was like
A Three Stooges math problem.
yeah.
You have Three Stooges. You take away Two Stooges. How many Stooges do you have left?
One. It was just like probabilities and stuff like that. Like yeah, but yeah, it was.
So that's and are they gonna bring like going back to Silvis, George and George? Do you know if they're going to bring 261 down to Silvis and store it there? They're going to still keep that up in Duluth and everything. They're just going to use Silvis as their.
Well, they're going to use it for maintenance. I don't think it's.
No, it's they're not.
They're not. Any over major stuff they're going to do down there, probably keep it up there in the frozen north. Maybe who knows if they're running? You can how much running you can do up north. What kind of? I think the big thing with the steam engines, and this is going to be the important thing, is who's going to let them run on their railroad. That's going to be the important thing.
Well, the cool thing with Iowa Interstate is they have their steam program, their own steam program.
Do they really?
Yeah,
Iowa Interstate,
It's all their those like Chinese
oh yeah, that's
Berkshires, or not Berkshires, but yeah. So
the Mikados, right?
yeah, and so so they're very like very user friendly. I think that that was the BNSF who did the Joliet rocket, but the Iowa Interstate has been very steam friendly in the past. So and I think that that is their yard out there.
Right.
So
right.
So I think that they're in a good situation with that.
Well, that's I think going to be the biggest.
I agree
because I don't care where you keep it if you can't get it out on some mainline railroad where these things can strike out with a passenger train and carry people from someplace to someplace interesting.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
3985 isn't going to operate on IRM. Yeah, like that.
All right, I'm going with my final answer. My final answer for the train that I wish was still around, that would always be around, GG1.
There you go.
That's my final answer. GG1. How about you, George? Final answer.
This is Final Jeopardy, George.
I'm gonna have to go with license. No, I don't know, man.
How about you, Grandpa?
There's going to be fewer and further between in the next few years, but the F3s really are something that's probably old Bulldog knows.
I find it yes. I find it so strange how there's only one original Santa Fe F unit. One.
I agree.
In existence. It's not even operating. I think it's repainted too to like Frisco. But like, and
I thought it was something else that was repainted to Santa Fe.
Well, yeah, it was a Frisco F unit repainted to Santa Fe, and I think there's a Santa Fe F unit somewhere, but that isn't like Santa Fe. It's like repainted to something else.
How many are running?
0. There's no Santa Fe F units that are running.
I mean, how many F3s are still running?
Oh, I don't know.
That's a good question.
I bet you there aren't that many. I know that they're very popular with tourist railroads,
right.
though, but I mean, there aren't really that many.
Most diesels are there. Remember the one used to be there at the tourist railroad up Traverse City. That,
Right,
yeah,
there was
that
that. There was the one in Seattle had one. The one out in Arizona had one.
Washington.
Missouri.
We just won on the one in Branson.
Yeah.
They had them. And I guess I'm lumping all of the F units in the same category.
Yeah,
F3, F7.
It's like, come on, man. It's
Well,
like
how many
putting the
E6?
Y6A and the Y6B in the same category.
The YF,
The Z,
right, Z9.
the Class A and the Class B's,
Let's
the
put it
Class
this-
C's.
Those are all of us that love trains. Would love to see all the old guys come. At least one example of all of them somewhere around. I mean,
Yeah.
if we had our brothers.
Right.
I just think it's so funny. You know how the Santa Fe F unit is like the most popular O-scale model train, right?
Right.
Other than the Polar Express, it is the most popular
Right.
O-scale model train. And there are like barely any examples
life.
of them in real life. You know what I mean? Even the New York Central ones,
Right.
which is like the second most popular F unit, right? For Lionel, right?
New York Central didn't save anything. It's like everything got.
Get out of here.
Well, that was Conrail and Penn
Penn
Central.
Central.
I'm sure that there probably wasn't in the greatest shape. Everything they had probably was just in bad
Well,
shape to
when
begin
you're
with.
going into bankruptcy,
Yeah, the
spend
only
any
thing
money.
that I don't think would be in bad shape, or I don't know, but maybe those Hudsons, right? Because they were gone by the time that.
Well, they were
Right.
Hudson's been gone a long, long time.
So and they were at the height of the New York Central. So I'm
Right,
assuming
right.
that it would be like.
Yep. Well, you had the Pennsylvania K5s.
Right? That's
That
another
was-
one. It's,
Yeah, that's an interesting engine. And I love the picture down here on the racetrack down by Garrett, on southeast side of Chicago, where Pennsylvania and the New York Central used to run parallel to each other when they raced the 20th century in the Broadway limit. The K5s I don't know if it was called the Broadway in that time, but the 20th century wasn't 20th century till they had diesels. But they used to race each other going on that stretch right the same way, going from Englewood to Gary. And that must have been quite a sight, because I'll bet you neither of those engineers wanted to lose.
all right. Oh, I know.
It's like that one picture of the Santa Fe 3751, and I think it's the 844.
Yes.
No, it's the GS. It's
Right.
It's
the
the
Southern Pacific
4449.
4449.
running out there
Is
in
it
California.
is it 844?
44,
No,
49.
not 844. The Santa Fe 3751.
No, it's like-
No, it's 844 and 4449.
3751 was running somewhere else.
The one that's neat that they've got a video of the 3751 is when people are driving down the highway and it's
Yeah,
just rolling right
You're
next
right.
to them.
That's like the 765 when that did that too. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's all really cool. Yeah.
Old
Yeah.
steam engines are just, but I still remember my one good friend that was an engineer, and I asked him what was the happiest day as an engineer. He says, when I got out of the steam engine and started driving the diesels.
Yeah,
He says,
yeah.
it was such a hot, filthy, dirty job. Get into a nice, clean diesel and be able to wear a suit and a tie if you wanted to. What a difference that made. He was seniority number 1 on the Milwaukee Road when I knew him, and so he drove the last city train, City of Everywhere, as they called it at that time, out of Chicago. So it was out as far as Savannah, I think is where they took it. So yeah. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. We love our model steam trains, but if we had to fire them for real, I don't think we love them so much.
No, I don't. I think you're right.
Yeah, we've sat in the cab there and watched that fireman.
Oh my gosh.
Shovel
So I've done it twice where I was in there doing it. One was the 765 and then the other one was 630. The 630, man, yeah, they were going to town on that. That was
Yeah.
hot. Couldn't imagine going across country like that.
Oh man, didn't have an automatic stoker in it. Oh, that
Right.
Must have been really tough.
Well, I always love stories, George, where you hear about them cooking bacon
Oh
on the boiler. They just
Yeah.
throw some bacon on there and let it cook while they're driving and eat some bacon. Yeah, coffee up there.
Yeah. Isn't that in the
General.
really great locomotive
Yeah,
chase
they
where they were
took
doing that in the
In
general?
Texas. No, it was in the
Before they
Texas.
stole it?
It
Yeah.
was in the Texas.
Was it the Texas?
Yeah, the 13-year-old boy and the engineer
Yeah.
were doing it when they caught up to the.
Not talking about trains you like to see running. I'd love to see that general.
Oh my gosh, right. And that's a cool story. So the General, you probably don't, you might or might not know about the General, but the General is a very famous locomotive from the Civil War. But when, I believe it was the 100th anniversary of the Civil War,
It operated.
the L&N Railroad took it, restored it,
Right.
and brought it around the country to operate.
Yep.
So it is not that far off from operation.
Right. It probably isn't. Whoever owned it, put that railroad museum down there, and the museum of the Southern Railway Museum of the Civil War down there, probably owns it. There's always been a big dispute between the city of Atlanta and that area and the city of Chattanooga over who should really have that engine. I don't know what is the Texas up in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Is it that's where it's at, Chattanooga? Because I've never, when we've been up there, I've never stopped.
Oh, yeah. How did you know that, George?
I watched a video on it.
Oh,
Actually,
cool.
I
I
watched
should
a reason
know
on why the General isn't operating, right? So you know how when we drive the Mustang, right?
Yeah.
It's just got it's
You can't get the battery connected. Right?
well no, it wasn't the battery, it was the solenoid, and that was not my fault. A ground wire was somehow positive, okay, and it shortened everything
I
out.
wonder who
Was it the solenoid or was
It was
the
a solenoid, or yeah, it's something going to the solenoid. Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
I thought you said it was the ignition coil.
it was
Well, you had
that
that
was the
problem.
wire.
That was-
It was the wire going from the coil to the solenoid.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but it was.
When you took it off when you put the new coil in, remember?
No, I didn't.
Somebody did.
I did not take that off when I put when I.
It was either you or your
Oh no,
Patriot.
yes, but it was working fine before I switched
No,
the
the
alternator.
coil wasn't working.
Yes, it was. It was working fine. Before I put that, we switched it in between when I took the alternator out and when I went to homecoming.
All right. We're gonna switch
Back to
subjects here.
trains.
Right. So, Milwaukee Road James says it's technically the L&N stole the General. So it's not the first time that the General's been stolen. I don't know the story behind that either. And by the way, we've got some new people coming in. Great to have you here. As always, fun. Sorry we haven't been around the last couple of weeks. Welcome back to the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios. I am surrounded by Georges. We've got
George,
lucky
otherwise
he
known as
is, huh?
GFW Trains.
and we've got
OG George.
right, and I'm Wally. I'm the guy who takes George places.
It's George is saying, not anymore. I got a car.
Yeah. I'm
Not
17.
anymore.
You can't say that
So
anymore.
hey, if you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. It's good to have you. It's always warm to see so many of our friends join us here in this railroad community. It's good to have you here. Smash that like button, and if you're new around here, like what we do, what should we do, George?
Smash it and like and subscribe.
There we go. Subscribe. That's what I was looking for, George.
But anyways, so operating the General is like, so you know when we drive the Mustang, it's just like it's old, right? It's
Part of history.
yes, but I mean like you know how it's got a certain quirks
quirks
like where the steering is like creaky when you turn it, right? Well, with the General, think that thing's over 100 years old.
Okay.
It's like
Right. It's old.
it's old. I mean you can put as much work into it and it still will be old. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No, I get it.
It's not something where you can put all the love into it, but first of all, it's not a very strong engine, so it wouldn't be a very good
It's not
excursion engine. And you know, and for example, the Virginia or Leviathan. Leviathan's a good example of this, right? It's a brand new engine that they created off.
So why don't you tell everybody what the Leviathan is, George? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
The Leviathan is a brand new engine created off the same blueprints which the replica of the Central Pacific and Union Pacific Americans were made off. That were where the Golden Spike was planted. And even that engine, I mean, it's not very strong. It's a great excursion engine for some place like TVRM, but it's not.
It's not going to pull a lot of cars.
And it's going to cost a lot, and it's going to be hard to. There is like
It's just
not as much result. It costs a lot, and there isn't as much reward into restoring something like 630, where it's strong. You know, you're able to pull a lot of, or even like those engines at Strasbourg. The one we rode behind was pulling like 20 cars.
Right.
Full of people.
What was the number on that one? 48, 45,
47,
47,
40,
9er.
47, 40,
Uh-oh.
Whatever.
475.
475.
But yeah,
That was a 280, right?
I don't know what it was. I think it was my consolidation.
So anyway, all right. So that's the reason why they don't.
But yeah, it would cost a lot. It's not as good of an excursion engine. I mean,
The good museum piece.
yeah,
Neat one for 100th anniversary of the Civil War, just to parade around everywhere, right? 1964, I think it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, but
Well, if it runs, it's something, you know, and you tend to run you build a replica, and you tend to run it and pretend it's the same one. That's like the Golden Spike engines. They're fun to watch those guys come out. That's something all you guys doing out west ought to take a trip to Promontory and
So you've
watch
been
that
out there
show.
to see that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, Dad. So Promontory Point is.
It is. I forget what they call it. National Monument or National Park, and that's the national park. And they set up where they commemorate the joining of the Transcontinental Railroad and the ceremony that they do it, and driving the Golden Spike in the track. And it's a nice museum. They've got a real nice museum that's devoted mostly to railroading and building of the Transcontinental Railroad. So it's well worth it. And
But the funny part is, there's no railroad that runs through there right now, right?
No, the track, the track where it was, you can see where the track went, where it goes, it's going off there, but there's no track that goes anywhere.
So there's
now.
just a hunk of track. How long is the
I
hunk of
don't
track
remember
there?
how long it is. It might be half a mile or a mile at the most. I don't know.
do they steam them up? Are they like
Oh, yeah.
operating?
Yeah. They do the ceremony once a day, I believe, out there. Maybe it's twice, but I think it's only once a day. We got lucky the first time we went to see it. We just happened to be driving by, and let's go to Promontory. We drove over there, and they said they're going to bring the engines out in 45 minutes. And I said, oh my goodness gracious sakes.
Here we go.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. That's always fun.
So they bring them out. They've got two of them, right? They're new locomotives.
Yeah. And they come out and they'll face each other just like they did.
They have a couple people and they say, "Whoa."
Yeah, they do the whole shtick, and everything, and don't have a golden spike, but they do the whole shtick just like the ceremony where they did it. And they send the telegraph. You got to remember, half the thing was the telegraph message that got sent that it had been completed. Now the railroad was transcontinental. It's really, really neat. It's really, really, really it's well worth it. If you're out there in Utah, go see it. It's one of those things that not a lot of people go and see. They go to see all those beautiful national parks, but Promontory's either. And actually, there's another thing when you're driving to there, when you make the turnoff to go there, there's the Morton Thiokol display of all the rockets that they made.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the Morton Thiokol was the big producer of this.
Be a great place to store your rockets.
Well, they're there. There are all those old launch vehicles are there. The early days of U.S. rocketry.
Cool. Cool. Well, LJL Rail Yards just coming through the door saying welcome. He's graduated from high school. Congratulations on that. He did a live stream the other day.
I gotta go back and do that.
Graduate. Oh, go to high school. So he did a live stream the other day, and he dedicated the live stream to GFW trains, and that was really nice of you. And it brings me around. I always say this at least once, sometimes twice in the live stream. Guys, we haven't been doing the GFW trains, Fast Friday, Friends Friday, whatever you want to call it, down here for a couple of weeks, and it's good to be back, and it's good to see so many people here. I love my train family. I love all you guys, and I thank you so much for, even though us not being on the radar for a while, that we're back, and you guys coming back and joining us. And I would ask, and I know that you guys are all good about it. And it's like I preach to the choir every time I say this. But make sure you guys keep this community going. Make sure that you do all of your efforts to keep this going. George is getting older. He's got more things going on. COVID came and went, and that's when we started this, when we were just had nothing to do. Life is getting faster. But guys, everybody out here knows that this is a good hobby for friends to actually, let me back up. This is a fun hobby, but it's not necessarily one that you can go down the street and your buddy has a model railroader in his layout, and that you can share the trains. And YouTube is a really neat community, and we've got a really neat platform. So please keep this community going. Let's keep this together. Stay in touch. Watch each other's videos, like each other's videos. They have some live streams out there, like LGL has a live stream that's on that he puts on. Nick's Crossing has some live streams that are really fun. Apples and oranges from time to time. But guys, we have great videos out there. Support each other. Keep the community going. And I'm telling you, that's going to be what fuels our hobby going into the future. So, hey, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of you guys. Don't you?
Yes.
Don't you?
I sure do.
That's what I'm talking about.
And one of the things that we always talk about is if you guys can give us topics to discuss, and we can discuss them. We can pick up some of the viewpoints along the line. The three of us have a fair amount of knowledge about trains, especially if you're into the Lionel low gauge trains, which we three are very into, and some of that. And I don't know how many of you guys are rail fans, or how many of you are model railroaders, or HO. George is into HO. I once upon a time was, but
I'm in the end.
if you give us, if you do give us some heads up on some things you'd like to talk about, the new product line and stuff like that, or bring us up to date on new product line, so George can go out and buy stuff and keep his spot and grow. I mean, what the heck? You got to have a little fun in this game.
Right. See, some people gamble. He just has a son who likes trains.
Yeah, man, it keeps me in the poorhouse.
So you guys struck me like a rabbit split. I got to tell you what.
Oh, did you buy a new train?
No, the Kentucky Derby.
Oh,
Kentucky Derby.
We should rub him like a rabbit's foot, but the problem is he didn't. All right, tell the story.
I bet $2
with his wife.
No, I bet the $2. Unfortunately,
Where'd you bet the $2?
At Bob's place.
Where?
Bob's. That's where we did it.
Oh, not his wife, his son.
We all bet $2 on a horse. The trouble is, it only paid me $4. But I picked.
You got 50% profit.
I picked the Kentucky Derby winner, and yes, I have to say, I wished I'd been at Churchill Downs and picked it, and I wished I'd put maybe
$100,000.
$50 win on that, and everything like that. But when you pick the winner, you pick the winner. I mean, I picked the Los Angeles Rams to win the Super Bowl too, guys. So what are you gonna do? I'm getting
Matt
good at
Stafford,
this.
Matt Stafford, but
GFW birthday special. Ooh.
Yeah, he had a live stream, and I totally missed that, and it wasn't until later that it was on his birthday.
it was dang. But we were driving on the way
We
home.
were out of town, right? We were coming back from Indianapolis, so sorry we missed that, and we'll definitely make sure we try and get on a live stream if you have another one, and give us some notice, right, LJL?
Right.
Congratulations on that
Graduating.
that graduation. What are you up to next? So backing up, Pugsy had another good question. I like this. Pugsy's throwing out the questions. They're good. Says, if you had to go back in time to only train watch, so that's all you're doing is train watch, what decade would you choose, and where would you spend the time most?
30s, the 30s, 40s, or 50s.
That's 3
I
decades.
know, but they all kind of like mush into one. I mean,
No, in 50s is the last of the
the early
times.
50s.
So I'm going to have to go with 50s. I'm going to have to do exactly what your life was.
Yeah.
I think that you grew up in the greatest place in the world at the greatest time if you were a train guy.
Yep.
That would have been in the 1950s in Chicago.
Correct. I could go less than 2 miles from my house and see all kinds of freight yards and 5 stations and about anything. You get on a passenger train going to almost any place in the world.
There's
in
still
the United States.
some steam left.
Right, still steam. I could go down there to the junkyard where I used to get parts for my car and watch the steam engine switching in the Northwestern coach yard there. That used to be something. Or you could watch one all of a sudden you see some Atlantic pulling out of Union Station at the Milwaukee.
Oh,
Over there. It was really
Hiawatha, yeah.
and where I'll tell you where I like to watch it the most in the train, in the dining car.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, one of the highlights of my life was being able to take many trips on trains and have dinner in the dining car or breakfast in the dining car. We used to go up to Milwaukee to watch a baseball game when they created the Milwaukee Braves. We used to ride the train up in the morning and have breakfast on the train going up, and then ride the streetcar out to County Stadium from either the Northwestern or the Milwaukee station, and ride the streetcar back downtown to the station, and then have dinner on the train going between Milwaukee and Chicago. Now, what's funny is Amtrak on the train running from Milwaukee to Chicago closes the diner before they get to Milwaukee for lunch in the afternoon, where the Milwaukee Road diners were open between Milwaukee and Chicago. You could have dinner on the train or breakfast, whichever it was. But that, in my lifetime, being able to ride the Santa Fe out to California, and Northern Pacific out to Montana.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that all came from Chicago.
Right. I get on the train in Chicago, and that's some of the neatest things. It's nice to see. I guess I've been reading some stuff that they got a new head of Amtrak now, and I guess they're making an effort to bring back dining car service, and there's talk that maybe they're going to open the diners to coach passengers again, which would really.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
If they can staff them with enough people so that they can serve everybody, that will be great. But it's those 80-seat diners. You got to have more than the 3 people or 4 people. I think they have 4 people in those diners now. You couldn't staff an 80-seat diner now.
Yeah.
The railroads on those the super lighter diners, they used to have 12 people working those, and then on the 48-seat diners, I was reading there's a magazine called Classic Trains. You ought to get it if you haven't seen it. It's not Classic Toy Trains, but Classic Trains. And they have really nice articles on this particular issue. Has got some really neat stories about diners on the various trains and stuff like that. And I love it. And then, of course, there's another one that's one of my favorite magazines called Passenger Train Journal. Calling back a lot of plugs here. The Passenger Train Journal is a young man that used to go to school at Michigan State University. He created that magazine, and I've got all except for very few times when they all of a sudden my subscription got canceled for some reason. They didn't send them to me, and I says, I paid for it. What happened? I think I have all the issues of that magazine. Oh, I'm missing one because I loaned it to George and it hasn't come back yet.
It's in the living room.
No excuse. That's all right. But these are fun magazines. That's another thing. You get a lot of information. I don't know if you guys read that, the Trains magazine, but they got a lot of. What I like to do is I like to read the stories about the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But it's also neat to think that they haven't given up on railroading here in the United States, and we all got to give Amtrak a shot, or give some of the other services, the Brightline down in Florida and stuff.
Right. So here's the one from out of left field. LJR or Mr. Railyard says, I would like to rail fan the Rhodesia Railways before it became the National Railways of Zimbabwe, seeing 15 class Garretts pulling coal trains from wonky coal. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be, me or Outback Australia.
Ooh, yeah.
God. But like in the early 80s or the late 80s. Because when they were moving it, so basically the way they had it, right, is the Ghan goes through like the Outback or Outback Australia, right? And so there is a part, like the Ghan they rerouted, but there's a part where it went through a very, very, very remote place in Australia. I mean, it's super remote, right? And it went through these towns. Well, no, but it's weird. They like there's they have the gun that goes the way it goes now, but then they originally in the 80s they had it go through these like really small. I don't know how to describe it. This is called like the West Gon or something like that, and it's all torn. They torn it up. It's narrow gauge. That was what it was, and so it went from I didn't even tell you where it went from, but they tore it all up in the 80s, right? And they have these like PA looking trains, right? And when they tore it all up, they just abandoned them in different towns. So it's really cool. You can go there now to where these stations were on the Gone, and they'll just be these PA like Alco PAs just sitting there like
In the middle of nowhere.
in the middle of nowhere. And you can see where they had the track, but it's all just torn up. It's nuts. And I mean, oh god, if you ever see, you got to see pictures of it. But it's just they're just in the middle of the desert, you know. And then they'll have some like memorials of the Gone that go through there. And it'll just be like a little platform with a passenger car, and after that, it's just desert. It's nuts. But yeah, that's always nuts. And I came across something the other day, right? It was at the very end of the steam era, right? And the Soviets, you know how they copied a lot of America's
Right.
steam or just like
Right.
railroading ideas, right? They copied an AC-9.
Or did they really?
Yes, it looks almost identical to an AC-9. They call it the
No way.
P-38. Yeah, if you look it up, it looks almost identical to the AC-9. I found one video of it running, and that is all I could find. It's a couple of pictures, man. But if you
Oh, I'd
put it
love
up,
to see that.
it looks exactly like an AC. I'll have to look it up right now. But it made by the Soviets right after the 410 or 414-2 or something like that. And it was a success. It just came at a time when it wasn't needed anymore. The thing is like 3 years, and then they went straight to dieselization. There's 4 ever made, and then but yeah, it's nuts. The Soviet P. But yeah, look at this.
Oh wow. Russian.
It's nuts. See?
Well, just remember the Russians' contribution to American railroading was not taking the little jokes.
the
so
little
we did.
Oh,
jokes,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's so cool. I saw a video of it running, right? It's got the teeny little eensy weensy whistle. It's like woo, woo. Like, yeah, I mean, it's
European whistles act like our whistles.
oh well, yeah. But if you have a big old articulated engine, it's like
A little peep whistle on
Yeah.
it. What's the difference, man? The difference is like
it's like having like a giant not hit puberty yet.
I like that. That's a good one.
It's like no, it's like if Papa
You can
hadn't
put
hit, or Pops hadn't hit puberty yet. He's still talking like, yay!
you want to hear a whistle. When we were on the Mississippi River in the steamboat, when they blow the horn, the whistle on the steamboat, in the valley,
It's so like you. I don't know. It's like you go from like, hold on, wait, my remote died. You go from like that to like,
yeah, the Soviet AA-20, which is a ripoff of the UP 9000 class. Yup.
oh well. They're probably still running in Soviet Union. I hate to say it, but
Right. Right.
they're not noted for their high quality rail service either.
So we thought you're wearing your Strasbourg shirt, George. So you went to Strasbourg. You saw Strasbourg. What was the queen of the show when we were out there at Strasbourg?
when we went out to Strasbourg, the 611 was. It's just sitting there right now. It's like nothing. I don't even like. It's like Strasbourg's the only place it can run right now.
I wonder if it started running yet this spring.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they did.
Ready to go,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I bet you
That's-
Strasbourg. It was like for I forget who's restoring the 611, but for them it's like, oh man, we can't do it. But for Strasbourg, it's like, bring me my money.
Right. So all right, this is a good question for us and for everybody. So just within the last, like we talked about, just within the last year, we've had all of these steam locomotives come online. If you could go ride behind one steam locomotive, or actually ride behind 3 steam locomotives right now, ride behind 3 of them, what would be the 3 steam locomotives that are operating right now that you could ride behind?
Ooh. 4449.
4449, that's a good one.
4014.
4014, yep.
And that's tough. I'd have to go with 4501, but on the main line. On the main line. Like on a main line. Not like a short line on a main
So
line.
4501 on a main line. All right, that's a good trifecta. That's a good. How about you, Grandpa?
3751.
All right, Northern, yep. That's Santa Fe.
4014.
4014, big boy, yep.
And I'd really like to ride behind the T1.
T1, yes.
The Reading. So that might be a summer project this summer to see where that guy is laying around to go ride that one in the. You know, since we haven't ridden behind the big boy, but we sure watched it enough.
That's good. All right, so this is LGLs. It would be the SAR Red Devil, the NSW 3801, and the Flying Scotsman. That's a good one. And James says be 261. That's in the Milwaukee Road Northern. The 3571. That's the same one. It's the Santa Fe Northern. And 765. And of course the Royal Hudson if she ran. That's a good one. Hugsy says.
Well, I would have put Capital too, but like,
we're talking Bugsy. We're talking about. I this is a good list, but we're talking about ones that are operating right now. So
611 is obviously.
Yeah, Norfolk Weather 611. Is it 61 or 611? You mean there? And then the daylight. Yeah, that's what I'm figuring. Randall's saying 3785, 4449. But what 3785 is?
It's
It's
bigger than that. I think it's like a 4124 or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah.
And then Reading is the T1, like you said, the 2101. We're getting some good. So NEC Life says I would love to ride on the Reading 2102, the BRW 60, and the CNJ 113.
That's interesting.
LJL says 4449, 2816, and 765. Randall says, of course, if they activate
5022, that seems
right.
I don't get why everybody likes that engine so much. I mean, it's a cool engine.
Missouri,
It's a cool engine, but like I don't know. I feel like it's maybe I don't know. It's interesting. For me, the 1522 like has like maybe the same significance as like 630.
Yeah.
Or 1630. That's what I meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what I would do. 4014, of course.
That's like immediately slap on the board, you know.
Right.
Like get out of jail free pass right there.
844. Nobody said 844, and that surprises me because 844 is just that's a tough one. Gosh, that's.
Well, you
See, some of these I don't really consider because I've ridden behind them. So I mean 765.
Yeah,
that one would be
already done that.
That would be way up there. I'd love this, and then like George said, 4501. That one would be a cool one. I think out of all, I've done both of those. 611, 40, 4449.
844
and 4014. I think that would be.
See, everybody didn't pick 844 because it's the same railroad as 4014.
Right, I know. It's
You got to really give credit to the Union Pacific Steam Program.
Right.
You really, everybody. I don't know if anybody from the UP Steam Program ever tunes in our little thing here. I got to tell you what, I handed to all those people that work at that thing. I don't know any of them. I wish I did because I'd like to be a little closer to the program, but Cheyenne's a long way from Chicago. But I got to really hand it to management to do something like that. They give you something that's kind of the same thing. I worked for an airline, and we had when the DC-3 was out of the shop was flying DC-3. Well, our airline at that time we had a DC-3 that used to belong to Eastern Airlines before it belonged to North Central Airlines, and it was the most flown airplane in the world. And our management kept that plane flying for years and years and years, and they finally gave it to the Ford Museum over there by Detroit. And she's sitting there in the Ford Museum. Finally, they put it inside. The sad thing is they painted it the Northwestern paint job instead of North Central. That's good. I guess someone from Northwest might have put up the money. The plane was never a Northwest airplane. It was always either Eastern or North Central. But our airline preserved that plane. Was the most flown plane in the world at that time. When they retired it from North Central Airlines. Even if they flew it as an executive airplane after they took it out of line service. I had a chance to fly it one time, which was kind of neat. But I really, I like to see companies preserve some of their heritage, and the UP has done that. You'd like to see, maybe, I don't know who did the Santa Fe big engine, because of course Santa Fe is now part of the BNSF, so it's a little different, but you can bet your bottom dollar if it was just the Santa Fe, they would have had a big part in something like that. Probably even the NP and the GN. And you got to hand it to companies, especially when their traditions are like that. I don't know. I like that a lot. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I do too. I think that's really neat, and I'm glad that there are people out there that have that much, that even work for those companies that care enough about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. I'm sure that STEAM program there at the UP, I know those guys get paid some amounts and stuff, but I'll bet you they spend a lot of time working on those engines and equipment that they don't get paid for. It's you gotta figure that out.
So Pugsy's coming back.
Hey,
George.
Nothing. Just I got like this poking in my back, this corner.
I'll move up a little bit.
Major shift in the passenger consist. Notice we're 3-3 seating. We're like the airlines.
If I was sitting behind George would turn to talk to me, it would be like, it would be hard. So I was trying to redo everything.
George has got the window. I got the island where Wally's sandwiched.
In the center, yeah.
I'm just trying to be a referee. Keep the conversation flowing.
Okay.
Keep the conversation. So Pugsy came back and says, okay, change my list. Going to go with the Daylight, North 11, and the Jitong Railway 6988, Iowa. Ooh, the Gina train.
Nice.
Go ride that thing. It's a dinner train out there. I think, isn't it?
I don't know.
There was one out there, and then they shut it down. It was shut down. And I don't know if it still runs out there because it's close enough to where it's a drive with a motorhome to go ride it. Stay in the night and motorhome, do it for a weekend or something. Yeah, there's another one up in Spooner, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Didn't they get the parlor cars?
Yeah, they got one of the high level cars. They got one over there by where the what engine's over there.
I got one. It's in my M-Skill Empire.
Yeah, I got one for real. But anyway, Pacific parlor cars. There's one. There's one over. I'm not sure it's St. Clair Shores. Somebody can get on that they run a Christmas trains over there. And I thought they were using that engine that used to be over there, a big Berkshire over there too, or something like that.
Dang.
What?
But, I forgot. those 5 all over the country. That was a shame. If any of you ever got a chance to ride those I got it on Starlight. We purposely made trips out there just to ride on that car, and because it was never anything near like that when they were on the Santa Fe. They were just a high level lounge like the Amtrak high level lounge cars. But the Pacific Parlor car, that was the highest point of Amtrak quiz, everything. The guy that found those 5 cars, and they were all paid off, and they fixed them up, and man, that was riding a train at its best. Actually, you couldn't have gotten any more fun than riding on that.
So I forgot about it. Even be at the top of my list, and it's such a low hanging fruit. The 1225.
That's the most famous steam engine in the world. You can't change it. You can't even change the stats. It's more famous than the big boy, hands down. Yes. Oh, yes. You ask any the Polar Express or the big boy, they're gonna say the Polar Express. You cannot. It's 12. I mean, it's just like that. Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, that's where the Michigan.
Yeah.
That's the one I was talking about. That's Berkshire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that was outside of
Michigan State.
That's what it was. Michigan State, Berkshire.
And we're back. Hopefully, we got this straightened out. Sorry there. Okay, go ahead, George. We have bad internet tonight, so for coming in and out, sorry about that.
But
So we were talking as we popped off about famous. George was talking about famous people who have a model railroading hobby.
so basically, Tom Hanks is into trains.
Didn't know that.
He's got an HO scale layout model after the Southern Pacific. James, no, you can't even say that the 4449 is more famous than the 1225. I mean, no, like I don't understand why people hate on the Polar Express so much.
So the same reason why people hate on Thomas. You
Yeah.
love Thomas, and then you become bigger than Thomas, but Thomas sparked your love, and then you come back to Thomas. That's the way it is. Same thing with 1225. You love 1225, then it kind of becomes cliche, and then you come back and you love 1225.
No, 1225 is the most famous. I mean, it's the Polar Express. You can't say it isn't. You can't. I mean, it just is. You know what I'm saying? But Michael Jordan also is in the into model trains.
Did not know Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's an N scaler.
Because you got an N scale.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's got a model train keychain.
No, he's in the N scale. And then Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. He's a O scale guy.
Skid Row.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should invite him on our live stream. Sebastian Bach. Come on, GFW train.
I saw him live one time with Aunt Margie. That was pretty cool, yeah.
Nice. James is saying 1225 isn't really the Polar Express. I guess it's not.
No,
really.
it is the Polar Express. You can't say it isn't. It is the Polar Express.
That's
you
what
say
he based
it isn't.
on.
It is the Polar Express, baby.
The author saw that engine and based the Polar Express on that engine.
That's like saying
Saw that at Michigan State football games, George.
There you go. See, you could have been the author of the Polar Express. Think about it.
Could have been.
You missed out, man. You missed out.
Could have been a contender.
Yeah, but no, that's like saying like you saw like a Bears poster, or no, I don't even know how to describe that. But no, it's not. That is the Polar Express. It's the 1225, but it is the Polar Express. That's what it's known for. You know what I mean? But yeah,
This is the Polar Express.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so he's saying it's not the Polar Express, it's base stuff.
No, it's the Polar Express. You can't convince me otherwise. You cannot convince me otherwise.
Hold on a minute. There's some other very famous trains. What else? What besides steam engines?
All right.
What else is there?
We're going into.
Here's one that's total low-hanging fruit, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I have never been on the Zephyr out at.
Well, a lot
IRM.
of people haven't. I don't know. It's
But I mean, I love the Zephyr. It's my favorite. It's at the IRM. It's not my favorite. I love Burlington. I love the Zephyr. It's at IRM. It's less than an hour away from my house, and I've never been. It's probably the most famous in existence diesel locomotive that's still operated, arguably. I mean, there are other cool diesel locomotives, but I would say that one is probably the most famous still operating diesel locomotive.
Yeah, when you consider, the only thing you have to consider with that is that is the kind of a modified Zephyr. The real Zephyr sits there in the Museum of Science and Industry. Pioneer Zephyr and then in the Mark Twain Zephyr, those, but they're not operating like you say. This one with
the Nebraska Zephyr,
E3, the Nebraska Zephyr with the E3s engine is quite unquestionably anything that has Zephyr in the name of it that's old timey is very.
It doesn't have the shovel nose, but yeah, it's still got the articulated cars and the consist. It's the same.
Yeah.
All cool. But I mean it.
Yeah,
Yes.
no. There's no such thing as a bad train, right?
Right.
Okay, let's get that straight. There's no such thing as a bad model train.
How about you, George? I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna see if I've got one in my head for Grandpa George. I'm gonna see if he goes with it. What's?
See, I don't. Dude, that's rough. I don't know. I would think going behind like the.
I think worldwide.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna.
Which one's had most TV?
Go with Grandpa. I gotta think about this one.
All right. What is it? We'll do two categories. We'll do United States and then we'll do worldwide.
What are we saying? Which is the most?
No. What would you want to ride?
Oh, like diesel.
Yeah.
Oh, train wise,
Yes.
I never got to ride it. When I really liked the because I love the movie North by Northwest, the 20th century.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'd love to walk down the carpet at the station, 20th Century Limited. I actually got to work on the Santa Fe, but I never got my nose in the Super Chief.
The El Cap.
The 20th Century Limited was probably the epitome and
The El Capitan for George.
well, that El Cap was coach, so
Or the Chief.
Super Chief.
The Super Chief.
Nah, the El Cap.
Come on,
the El
Super
Cap.
Well, you go ride the Amtrak Superliner. It's the same thing.
I love the El Cap, man.
Super Chief.
Same.
Oh, I get it's the same thing, but the El Cap, that's like, dude, that's.
So all right. Now let's back up though. Let's back up, boys. Let's talk about out of all of the trains that are currently running right now. Not steam locomotives. It can be a museum train, it could be a regular train, it could be any train. But not the steam locomotives. Domestic and worldwide. What are the two trains?
Would like to ride the best.
Yep.
Well, a lot of that has to do with where you're going, I think. What do you guys think on that?
I-
Is that what you think?
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'm going to go with this. My one that I would like to ride that's worldwide, I would like to ride the Orient Express.
I knew that was exactly what you were going to say.
It closely followed by the bullet train. I'd love to. Yep,
Shinjuku bullet.
The
train, right?
Shinkansen.
yep, Shinkansen bullet train.
You know what? The one that we blew when we were in Singapore. And we rode that day train. We should have rode that night train that went all the way.
Right. They did overnight.
Yeah.
We slept on the train.
Slept on the train. up into from Singapore up into.
I'm gonna have to go with
Burma.
James. On
The
that
Empire
one.
Builder?
Empire
Yeah, because you haven't been on the Empire
I
Builder.
have.
I was on the Empire Builder 2 weeks ago.
I've been on the Empire
you
Builder.
have, but
yeah,
you-
but I just thought
I
I
was
was
5
like,
years old, dog.
well, I was crying while they're trying to get me to look at the mowing cars.
Justin B says the Rio Grande Zephyr. Yeah, that would have been a cool one to ride.
Well, the Rio Grande Zephyr was, of course, just really when it was the Rio Grande Zephyr, it was left over after Amtrak took the ends off it.
Oh,
the-
yeah?
and
Yeah.
the Rio Grande, the Zephyr, when it was the Rio Grande, was just the center portion of the California Zephyr.
That's
So,
another
all right.
one.
Explain to that one to everybody. So, Justin, if you don't know, my dad's an old train guy from way back. You can tell. So you probably know this, or you may or may not.
And this is going to be a little show I think we're going to put on in the GFW trains. This is going to be fun. I won't divulge it now, but I had this brainstorm that we ought to do. You know, the California Zephyr was made up by 3 railroads. It originated Chicago and the Burlington. It went to Denver and it went on the Rio Grande, Denver Rio Grande Western to Ogden, Utah. And then the Western Pacific went into Oakland, California. So what they would do, sometimes they run pool engines on these. Sometimes they switch motive power in each of those spots. But the consist of the train would stay the same. And if you look if you can see some pictures, some of the cars, each railroad committed some of the cars to it. Now they were all fluted aluminum, a lot of dome cars and everything like that. But on the car, it says California Zephyr, but there's a little thing on there with the railroad that owned it. And there were a lot of cars that were run on through trains that were different railroads that operated like that. There were different, like the city of Miami that was operated on the Illinois Central, Illinois Central and Central of Georgia. And then I think it's Central of Georgia, and then Florida East Coast on into Miami. And so they call them pool trains. And you see different motive power, but the California Zephyr is obviously the most famous. Now, what's interesting is the only railroad passenger service train that ran from Chicago west to California on the one railroad was the Santa Fe. All the others were the Rock Island to Tucumcari, New Mexico, and then the Southern Pacific. As we went, the Union Pacific was either the Milwaukee Road or the Chicago Northwestern out to Council Bluffs, Iowa, and then the Union Pacific out to California, and then the Southern Pacific into California. So that was how those trains on the city of San Francisco. The UP did go all the way to Los Angeles, but it didn't come out of Chicago that way. So the Great Northern was Burlington, the Empire Builder was Burlington to Minneapolis, then the Great Northern up to Spokane, and then when it was split, then you'd have the Spokane, Portland, Seattle Railroad would run those. Same with the Northern Pacific, Burlington to Minneapolis, and Spokane, Portland, Seattle Railroad. It's kind of really, people don't realize that these trains got operated out there in the West by another railroad and stuff like that. But that was neat. Now the Milwaukee Road, there's another one. Somebody brought up the Olympia in Hiawatha. That ran from Chicago to the West Coast, all on Milwaukee Road rails. That is the other one that ran transcontinental. It's mostly overlooked by everybody, including me when I was saying this before. Apple and Orange, you got it right. Right by your house there. That was when I was at school there at the University of Montana. We had right on the north end of campus, there was on the one side of the Clark Fork River was the Milwaukee Road Station, and down the other end of town there in Missoula was the Northern Pacific Station. And I went out there just in the last year of the Milwaukee Road, Olympia and Hiawatha. I never got to ride on it. I rode on the North Coast Limited, but I never got to ride on the Olympia and Hiawatha.
That would be cool.
See, all under Canton area there too. I mean,
Yeah.
that was really neat.
like going through Montana, like the mountains out there and the
Yep.
little Joes. Oh man, I always love those photos. But that for me, but the Zephyr, the California Zephyr, that's another one I want to go on, just because you go through Donner Pass.
Yeah.
That one is I love Donner Pass. I don't know about you guys, but that's where the Cap Forwards ran.
Actually, you want to know something? That
What?
wasn't California Zephyr.
What is it?
Oh.
The one they run now?
Now.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking
the
about.
Original California Zephyr.
Oh,
The river
it was a daylight that ran through there.
No, the daylight didn't run through there.
Yeah, it ran through Donner Pass.
No, Donner Pass was the Southern Pacific city of San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't daylight.
Oh. But anyway, the Feather River King, and they said was much prettier than Donner Pass. Donner Pass is really interesting to see where it all happened. You can see, God, just imagine. How about the time they had the trains
stuck for like 3 days?
The city
Yeah.
of San Francisco was stuck.
Oh
there.
my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. There's a video. This guy recreated it on a Train Simulator.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Well, they got enough pictures of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that long ago, really.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he recreated all the events of like what was going on. Like basically, it was cool because he had Cap Forwards like with the snow blowers and stuff like that, or the snow plows. Yeah.
Nice. James, you got it right there. You know, Little Joe, the bipolar, then put it on a diesel out west, and then maybe put it on the S3 into Chicago, or go the S3 to Minneapolis, and then switch. That'd been a really good show. It'd be fun.
So yeah, Rod Stewart is a train guy. That's
Yeah, I like Rod Stewart.
I like Rod Stewart being a train
Who
guy.
was the guy that they did that article on, and they did that article on our train layout in the Sun Times, and
It was Rod Stewart.
was it Rod Stewart?
Yeah,
Or
Rod
another-
Stewart
there
and
was
Neil
another
Young.
guy.
Neil Young.
Neil Young was the other one. The guy.
No, there's another guy that was late night. I'll have to look it up. There was
Oh yeah.
a news guy.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Then
because
the
Neil
hundred-
Young always looked really scary in the. I remember that. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to talk to that guy.
Snyder was the guy.
Bob Snyder.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
because I
late
remember.
night talk guy.
Yeah, and but they had him and Neil Young on the newspaper article, and then Neil Young, he's like, and I was like, oh, I don't want to talk to that guy. Trains. I never want to run trains with that guy. He looks mean. But yeah.
George, you ever see the video of a guy jumping down?
Yes. 13 years ago that happened. He jumped over a train on a snowboard.
That's what I call an idiot.
It's a cool video. It's a cool video.
Oh man,
But he's a hobo.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, that's what he does. He was. Now he's a professional skateboarder, and then he just like stopped skateboarding to become a hobo,
Not bad, man.
and then he became a professional
I
snowboarder.
didn't even know you could be a hobo anymore.
Hey, let's talk about one other train.
All right.
How about a horseshoe curve?
Ooh.
On a passenger train. Being able to get along and being able to see the engine.
Is there any passenger trains that go through Horseshoe Curve?
Yeah, Amtrak.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be a neat trip. I'd like that.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
Steve, 87 PSAP. And by the way, everybody, you're rolling through the door. Welcome to GFW Trains. Take a drink if you're doing the George drinking game. He's been going to town with his yawns. Please smash that like button if you're new around here. Welcome to the stream. If you're one of your old guys coming back around, welcome back. Good to have you here. We have been doing stuff here in the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios in a while, so it's good to be back. Good to be talking trains with George and George here. So, Steve 87 PSAP says that they've got a great museum for Japan Rails that gives you the evolution of trains and how they work.
That's pretty cool.
Don't know where I was going with that, but so Evelyn Oranges says also, gee, didn't know you were a Grizzly. I spent a lot of time in Missoula. I think one of the stations is a brewery or a restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I understand. It's also there's one of my. I understand. I'm a guy from Chicago where you don't show your guns unless you're going to kill somebody. Walking down the main street, Higgins Avenue, there in Minneapolis, in Missoula, seeing everybody going by with guns in the back windows of their cars, seeing that. Then going into there used to be a place that a guy named, actually it was a foster son of my scoutmaster, owned a place called the Oxford in downtown Missoula, and I think that's still there. And I walked into the back when I first went out there to say hello to him, because my old scoutmaster said, go see him when you're out there. And I went back in there and they got a gambling casino in the back going, that's like good old Chicago speakeasy stuff. With going from Chicago to Montana, I dropped back 30 years of life, is what I said when I got to Missoula. That was what it was like. Really, we've been back there lots of times to the kids that see it. It's really, they call it Little California there, as you know, because it seems to be where many of the Californians move to. It's a nice town. It was the world's most polluted city when I went out there. They had those teepees that were constantly burning, the sawdust, and they had the paper mills there. The place smelled worse than Gary, Indiana on a bad night, or even the stockyards in Chicago. You'd get up in the morning and this brown haze would lie in that canyon there. And I used to say, this is the clean air in Big Sky Country. This is a joke. You gag on it.
But James said he would love to see 6'11" tackle Saluda. I watched a video that this guy did a documentary at 6'11" tackling or going up Saluda grade. So for those of you who don't know, Saluda grade is the steepest main line, or was the steepest main line grade in North America, and I think it was like something like 4.7% or something like that. It was 4.8%, like nuts. And they did a 4501 did an excursion up it, but it had help. But then they did it where 611 went on it, and they're like, and 611 it was a Southern Railways like tracking route. Something the Norfolk and Western had never done, and the J had never been there, right?
Right.
Well, this was in the height of Norfolk and Western's steam program, so they're like, you know what, we're gonna take 611 up this grade with the excursion, right? So they take it up there, and they start going up the grade, and it stalls. The 611 stalls. The 611's made for tackling mountains. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a huge engine, and for that to stall is nuts. And so what they did is the engineer, I guess, he just opened the throttle and a bunch of black smoke comes out. You gotta watch the video sometime. It's so cool watching that engine go up Saluda grade. But I mean, because the grade is huge. I mean, it's like I don't know how to do it. It's just nuts. You know what I mean? And and I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. But
Penrod Auto Repair asked you a question here. Who made your backdrop?
Right. And I responded, my mom, George's grandma, his wife painted that. I'm hoping to get her back to finish up the rest of the stuff around here. So the Railroad, the Yorkville Eastern Shore, which is the railroad here in the DFW Trains Worldwide Studios, is meant to go from New York City. Actually, it's meant to go from Yorkville, which you've got over here, and it goes around here from Yorkville, Chicago, to New York City, the Jersey Shore over here, and then Washington, D.C. back on this side. But it's about 20% done, actually. So got to get her back over here to do some of that stuff sometime soon.
Yeah.
Oh, Randall brings up a good point. You imagine going down that.
Dude, I've always said I'd rather run up a hill than down a hill. That's going down hills is like, I mean, if you're walking, I don't know. It's just hard. You know what I mean?
This is some runner thing going on here,
bro. I don't know how to describe it. It's just you can't. It's hard to stop once it's hard on the knees. You know what I mean? And even for the engine, I'm sure it's rough trying to stop at a certain point. But going down Saluda grade had to be a treacherous journey. That's for sure. But
yeah. Right. So hey, well, listen, everybody. We've been rolling along here for 2 hours. It's been great to spend 2 hours here on the Fast Friday, Friends Friday, but this is the actual Fast Friday for Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans and Indianapolis 500 fans. because tomorrow is qualification day, and the day before qualification day is always Fast Friday. So, hey, it's good to be here. I'm glad that we had a chance to come back and re-engage with everybody. It's been a while since we've been down here in the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios. Things are getting back going again in everybody's life. George is in high school and got lots of stuff going on in a high school, and just lots of things. So it's good to be back. It's good to reconnect, and I'm thank everybody for coming back around and hanging out with us tonight. It was a good time. And again, I made my speech before, but we've got a really, really neat YouTube community here. Our hobby is a cool hobby, and sometimes it can be rather insular in the fact that people around us don't have train layouts or trains and everything like that. So it can be something that it's a very lonely thing. And the YouTube community, us here, make it a really nice one in the fact that we can sit down, we can talk. We've got these live streams. We've got great YouTube channels. A lot of people out there have some neat stuff. So support each other. Go to their YouTube channels. Watch their videos. If they've got live streams, go. Stay in touch, guys, because this is a really, really neat vibe that we've got going. And I think this is where that our hobby is going to grow. So anyway, with that being said, I really appreciate you being here. Dad, thanks for coming down and hanging out with George and I on
I love being on the show.
And
it's more fun being on it than watching it.
Agreed.
But maybe we'll get some new ideas. I have some brainstorms.
All right. And George,
thank you everybody for watching. See you around the roundhouse.
Don't let the coos hit you on the way out.
Hey,
all right. And by the way, Rail Chief 74, thanks for coming. Sorry that we're closing up right when you're getting here. But hey, everybody, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Hey,
another drink.
Rail Chief, check out some of the videos that he's posted in the last couple of weeks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you around.